Greetings Internet, and welcome back for another early mornings presentation. So, as has become my new usual for my early morning videos, today is going to be another check out my junk video. And this past weekend, I think it was this past weekend, it might have been the one before, no, it was this past weekend. I made another trip down by the old Goodwill store. No, it was last weekend. I didn't drop by the Goodwill this weekend. Anyway, I didn't find much this time around, but what I lacked in quantity, I made up for in quality. So, I'm going to try and save the best for last, but, well, my personal best for last. So let's just jump right into this, shall we? So when I first got to the place, I was just walking around, just like, looking at things. And as I'm walking along, I go by the section where they have all their lamps set up for sale. And I'm not even thinking anything about it, anything of it. And I just, for a split second, catch a flash of something, and I'm like, that's familiar, but why is it familiar? So I turn my head, and I see this little dork just sitting on the shelf, literally sitting like this, just like, hello, just sitting there. I was like, huh, nifty. So I picked him up, and for some reason I never put him back down. Now, first, some of you might be like, oh, it's just a G.I. Joe. No, it's not G.I. Joe. This guy was from Mattel, I believe. Yep. Marked right on the back with his little cheap plastic head. This little jerk is a man by the name of Max Steel. Now, I don't know too much about this character. I just know that he was like an Action Man ripoff. Because around the time this figure came out, there was this guy called Action Man, obviously. And he was the British version of G.I. Joe, but then he got ported over here to the States, and it's weird. Because we had G.I. Joe and we had Action Man for a short span of time. And also during that span of time, they're like, let's throw out a new superhero. Yeah, this guy was a superhero. Let's throw out Max Steel. He's got nanotech, which allows him to do things and stuff. Yeah! And as such, he has like this weird metallic thing on his wrist. I believe it was kind of like Buzz Lightyear's communicator. And he's also got this weird silver tattoo going on his bicep, which I'm almost positive y'all aren't going to be able to see because my camera sucks. But he's in really good shape. He's from 1999, which means this bad boy is officially 20 years old. And it hurts me to say because I remember when this stuff was new. I'm getting old! But anyway, that was the first thing that I found that weekend, and I will admit, he's the weak sauce in this entire endeavor. And excuse me for just one moment, the oven beeped, so I have to go put my breakfast in it real quick. Hold your horses, I'll be right back. Okay everyone, I have returned. Alright, so like I was saying, first thing I found was Max Steel here, and he was like the weak sauce of the entire a bunch of things that I found that weekend. Now, the next thing I found, because when I go to my local Goodwill, obviously I'm looking for vintage toys. Which, again, it hurts me to say that's a vintage toy. My heart, my soul. So I went over to the actual toy area, which was like, a couple of shelves, a couple rows down from where I found him by the lamps. And I'm just digging around, looking at all the stuff, like bags of McDonald's toys from like the last 5 years, blah. A bag of Barbie dolls, blah. And then I just happened to, be looking up on the top shelf, nothing much. Second shelf, nothing. Third shelf down by the floor. Crouched down and I look, and I saw this. Now, for a lot of you, this thing's probably going to be unremarkable. It's like, yeah, it's just a generic, Triceratops toy. And you would mostly be right. You'd also be kind of wrong. This little fella came from the far-off year of 1987. Yep, 1987. It's made by Play School. And I believe it's from the Totally Dinosaurs line. Hold on, I did my research before, but my memory is failing me because it's like not even 3 o'clock in the morning. Alright, now. Come on, eBay, help me with this real quick. 1987 Play School Dinosaur. Bop. Definitely dinosaurs. That's what it was. Anyway, this Triceratops is from a line called Definitely Dinosaurs. And surprisingly, I have seen toys from this series before in my lifetime. I just didn't know what they were from. And y'all probably aren't going to be able to see this, but he's got a stamp right here that is a whatever that dinosaur was that was Littlefoot, Brachiosaurus, the long-necked ones. These things were stamped with that dinosaur like curled up. And I just happened to see this thing and I was like, that's pretty nifty. Then I saw the year on it and I was like, ooh, it's even more nifty. So there was a whole line of these. There were the big ones like this. There were smaller dinosaurs. There were even a series of cavemen that were like, I'm going to say about yay big. And I'm thinking this came with a saddle because it's got a hole right here, a plug if you will, for where you just like put that in and you'd put the little cave person on top and then you'd have your little adventures. And by the way, the mouth goes. It's in really great shape. It's only got a little bit of paint wear on the nose horn. Everything else is in, I'm going to say not impeccable, but in great shape. So that was a nice little pickup. Now the next thing I found, this one was technically the first thing I found, because at my local Goodwill they have glass cases in the front where they keep the good stuff. And a few years ago, this company called Loot Crate, that I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with, was putting out, certain superhero-themed things, or like anti-heroes, I think was the theme. And one of the things that came in that box, if I'm remembering correctly, was this here coffee mug, shaped like Carnage's face. And they had this, of all things, at my local Goodwill. Basically, it's in perfect shape. No chips, no cracks. They just had it in that front display case, just like, just sitting there on the shelf, and I was like, cool. Then I saw the price tag, and I was like, it's still really cool, but is it $8 cool? And obviously, ultimately, I was like, yeah, he's $8 cool. So I picked him up. Literally, haha. But now, all three of these, in my personal opinion, are the weakest of sauce. Well, no, he's the weakest of sauce. He's the mild sauce. He's the mild sauce of my finds for that weekend. Because the next thing I found, I have been trying to track down this game for years. And I'm sure y'all have probably been able to see the corner of the box this whole time. Behold, ladies and gentlemen of the internet, Mousetrap! I'm sure a lot of you are like, why are you so excited about Mousetrap? Because I've been wanting this stupid game since I was a kid, and I have never, in all my days, found an original vintage copy in my local Goodwill ever. I mean, I've been scouring that blasted store basically since high school, and this game has not shown up on the shelves once until that weekend. Now, I know there's also a lot of you going, well, why are you worried about getting an old copy? They make it now. You can just walk into your local Walmart and pick one up. I don't want the new one. I want the one from when I was a kid. Now, this isn't exactly like, well, actually, this is basically exactly like the copy, the copies of the game they made when I was little. But this one's from 1999, and I remember watching the commercials back in 1996, 1997. But it's the same, it's the same model, it's the same thing. And apparently, at one point in time, there was a version of this when they first came out with this, where there was a yellow plastic ball, as evidenced by the front of the box here. It's even featured in the artwork. Right here. Coming out of that bathtub. Anyway, the original version came with a yellow plastic ball that would drop down into the bathtub and make that old guy jump into the, the barrel. But this version, they got rid of that yellow plastic ball and added in a second metal marble, which is just a really big ball bearing. So this thing, the best part about this, the part that blew me away, it's complete. All of those goofy pieces are in here. Both of the ball bearings are in here. Every single last one of those silly cheese slices are still in this thing. It's got the die with it. It even had the original rubber band, which is like dry rotted to heck. The thing has the consistency of a raw spaghetti noodle, but it's there. It also has the original instructions in English and Spanish. Oh yes, muy bien. So, and the box is like fantastic. I'm not going to say it's immaculate, like I was saying about the dinosaur before, because it's got a couple flaws here and there. It's got some shelf wear, but dagnabbit, it's mine. It's mine. I finally found it. A childhood dream realized. I own Mousetrap. And I have put it together, and aside from that, dry rotted rubber band, it works. It works like a dream. Well, almost like a dream, because I'm sure there's a lot of you who've actually played this before know. It's a 60-40 shot as to whether it's actually going to work properly. And it took me like 5 tries to get the little diver guy to hit the bucket and make the little Mousetrap bell thing, to make that thing actually drop down. But it was a lot of fun watching the marbles go down. Just like the boot kicks the bucket, ting, and then the marble goes tink, 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 tink. Goes down that little curly slide, and when it hits the pipes, the helping hand thing goes boop, sends the other marble down, goes into that tub, and wham, 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 plunk. And when that goes down and hits the teeter-totter, the guy goes poop. And half the time the guy would just jump straight up and clatter and land on his side. And it's like, oh. So I put everything back together, reset everything, do it again, clunk, do it again, clunk, do it again, clunk, do it again. And then finally, the marble tick 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 tick, clink, clunk, clunk, plunk, and then and the cage actually fell down, and I was just like, yes. So these were my finds of the weekend. These were my little treasures. This one is staying with me, along with Carnage, for the time being, though I might put him up on eBay. I've still got the box that my roommate's Carnage mug came in, so I might just pair that up with his, the box from his, and put that as complete on eBay. This I am almost definitely putting on eBay. And I'm not sure what to do with Max here. I actually had a few of these little jerks growing up. Well, not growing up. Let's just say in an odd way, I got hand-me-ups from my younger cousins. You know, as they were growing out of their toys, they knew that I collected toys and, you know, like, was holding on to stuff like that. And they were like, here, you want this? I was like, yeah, free stuff, I'll take it. So, I've had these guys before, and there's a tiny hint of nostalgia there. Like, if you go back far enough on my channel, I've actually got a couple stop-motion videos featuring one of these. Like, I've got one with a G.I. Joe who shoots his head off, because one of the ones my cousin gave me, the head was broken off. So, I thought it would be a fun idea to have G.I. Joe just, like, you know, bring up his rifle and pow! And as the little projectile came out and hit Max Steel's head, it like exploded and turned into a gooey glop, and then G.I. Joe's just like, like I said, if you go back far enough in my channel, you'll see it. But anyway, thank you all so much for coming back and enjoying my content. I do truly and greatly appreciate it. If you like what you've seen here today, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that little bell icon to be notified of future uploads once you are subscribed. And with all of that happy horse hockey out of the way, this is Oxleymations saying, Cowabunga, and I'll see y'all in the next episode. Later. Me, I'm Max Steel. Me ride me Triceratops to supermarket. I don't know why I did that. It just felt right. Later.